Mr. Speaker, after leaving Albertans without the certainty of a budget for nearly 6 months and actually causing tens of thousands of unnecessary job losses, to the Premier, will you give hard-working men and women in Alberta assurance that you will not tax more of them out of their jobs or increase the cost of living with new taxes beyond what they've already suffered from under your government?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll start with two things. You know, we could have had a budget already if the previous government had chosen to pass the budget before they called an election a year earlier than the legislation that was in place at the time. That being said, the budget will come tomorrow and we will see the outcomes. But you know, overall, Albertans will pay less in taxes in our budget than they would have under the budget that was put forward by the folks over there.
Mr. Speaker, Albertans have come to depend upon the Premier of Saskatchewan, who was in Alberta on the weekend, to be their go-to voice in Canada to protect jobs, the economy, and quality of life for their families since May 5th of this year. To the Premier, have you heard enough from Albertans during the summer of discontent to convince you to redirect your government in favour of creating jobs, to stick up for the great work done on the environment by Albertans, and to remove the uncertainty caused by your changes to the energy regulator and possible changes to royalties?
Madam Premier.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I had a tremendous opportunity to travel across the province over the summer and in the early fall, and not only there, but to meet with investors in the U.S. as well as Eastern Canada. And in meeting with those people, one of the things that I heard about actually was that they were looking for a government that would engage in a partnership on job creation and economic diversification. And as I've said, I heard that message, and we've developed that ministry as announced last week. And you'll see the economic plan that will be laid out in the budget by the Minister of Finance tomorrow. So I actually think that we have heard a lot of that message, and I'm very pleased with the opportunity to work collaboratively with business leaders around the province.
Second supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, our caucus has talked to Alberta leaders who provide jobs, build seniors housing, and create wealth to benefit Albertans. In almost all cases, they feel they've been ignored by this Premier's ministers when they've met with a "we know better" attitude. Madam Premier, would you ask your ministers to go back and listen this time, do the job right, and actually pay attention to the Albertans that are already creating jobs, already supporting the economy, and actually get it right, because they don't feel heard so far?
Madam Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I actually think my ministers have been consulting an incredible amount, and I've heard a lot of amazing feedback in terms of how accessible everybody in this government is. But you know what? We can always do better, and we will do better just because we love our province and we want to talk to as many people as we can. And I have faith in all of my ministers and that they will continue to do that. And in particular with the folks that this minister is talking about, I suspect they're going to see a lot of the new Minister of Economic Development in the weeks to come.